Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to From the Nosebleeds. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm Joey Gunnar, joined here today by AP on another Victory Monday. And Nilo, how we feeling on this great Monday morning?
Hey, man, that is 10 wins in a row for the Denver Broncos as they take down the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday, 24-17. And I don't think the final score is indicative of just how much command the Broncos had of this game. Look, I think some people in Broncos country would have liked to see the Broncos offense light it up a little bit more, but you saw two steady drives that were 8+ minutes each independently. I mean, this was a game that Denver really had a grasp on from the moment it started, with that Bo Nix rushing touchdown to get it rolling, and then Marvin Mims with the punt return touchdown as well. I mean, the Denver Broncos took command of this game and really didn't look back.
Yeah, no, there is every single aspect of this game looked completely opposite of when we saw them take on the Raiders earlier in this season. And they just looked dominant on both sides of the ball, specifically the offensive side, which is something that we haven't really gotten used to very much here. But just the efficiency and the level of speed that they were playing at. And they weren't playing at a high speed. In fact, it was the opposite. They were really slow with their drives, and that's not a bad thing. In fact, that's a great thing. They were able to give their defense, which has obviously been the best part of this team, a long extended break, multiple breaks. As you said, 2 8-minute drives was incredible. And the Broncos were just in control the whole time. You look at the Broncos' possession. They were in possession of the ball for 39 minutes and 3 seconds, while the Raiders only had possession for 20 minutes and 57 seconds. That is Super Bowl winning numbers. I mean, you look at a team that can hold the ball for 2/3 of a game. How can you ever beat a team that does that?
Yeah, and obviously, you know, there's the gauntlet that is now forthcoming with the Denver Broncos with respect to their schedule. Green Bay, Jacksonville, Kansas City, and the Chargers now to end out the season. So I think we're going to learn a lot about what this Denver Broncos team is in these 4 kind of action-packed games coming up on their schedule. But with respect to the game against the Raiders, they check this box, they check that box, they check this box, right? The Broncos took care of business in that game. And to your point, Joey, I think the sustained drives and the ability to kind of suck the life out of the Raiders on defense and wear them down and score points in the manner in which they did, I think you got to be happy about that if you're a fan of the Denver Broncos. I mean, Bo Nix was very solid across the board in this game. 31 for 38, 212 passing yards, and R.J. Harvey, arguably his best game of the season, 100 all-purpose yards, did it out of the backfield as a running back, did it as a receiver as well at the running back position. So you love what you saw from this Broncos offense, and I think the sustained drives, to your point, is exactly what you're going to need to do come playoff time.
Exactly. And let's just talk about Bo here. Let's look at his stats. 31 for 38, 212 yards, no passing touchdowns, no interceptions, 15 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. On paper, most of those stats don't look too special. I mean, 212 passing yards, no touchdowns. He's only thrown 1 touchdown, and he's had 1 interception in the past 3 games, I believe. 15 rushing yards, a rushing touchdown. That's great. But the 31 for 38, those are the kind of numbers you want to see from somebody, especially your franchise QB. He has gone out there. He made a statement up against this team. And what he was doing was he was attacking underneath. And that's something that we got very accustomed to watching Bo Nix do in college while at Oregon or at Auburn. He was a lot of people named him a check down merchant, and we're using that as a derogatory term, trying to tear him down. That's not a bad word. Check down merchant is not a bad word when it comes to the way that Sean Payton runs his offense. If you're able to run it like that, you're going to be a successful quarterback in this league. And that number, those numbers right there, 31 of 38 specifically, that is something that shows me that this team can beat anybody. If you're able to do that up against the Raiders, it's not like the Raiders are playing any differently against the underneath levels as any other team. He was able to do that against a defense that has obviously had their struggles, but there's still a defense in the NFL. Those are numbers that you want to see, and that is leading me to believe that, again, this is a Super Bowl winning team.
Well, look, I think to put it simply, Bo Nix did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Exactly.
You mentioned no touchdown passes, but rushing it in on the quarterback draw there on the first drive of the game, I think that really set the tone for this Broncos team throughout the course of this game, because they really, I know the game was also tied at one point, but you never really felt like this game was in doubt for this Denver Broncos team, and the efficiency is exactly what you wanted to see from Bo Nix. Now, look, It is the Raiders. I have the respect for them because they are an NFL team. But again, he checked the boxes that he was supposed to. I'm excited to see what this looks like moving forward because this game, in theory, should be a confidence booster for Bo coming back home to take on Green Bay, take on Jacksonville, right? We're going to learn a lot about this Denver Broncos team over the next 4 games. But with respect to this game against the Raiders, man, you really can't complain all that much. And to be honest, yes, they win the game by 1 possession, a couple of garbage time scores there from the Raiders towards the end of the game. But part of the reason why the Broncos didn't run up the score a little bit more in hindsight is the length of the offensive drives that they were on. I mean, they were bleeding the Raiders dry, play after play after play after play. So at the end of the day, man, this is an 11-2 football team that is playing really, really well right now. And the efficiency from Bo Nix, chef's kiss yesterday, Joe.
Love that. Efficiency is exactly what I was going to say next. Do you know, I don't have the number in front of me, and I bet it's not as long ago as I think it is. When a quarterback has last completed a pass to 11 different players in a game, 11 different players, the efficiency again was there. And this is something nobody has been more critical on this Broncos team than me. When it comes to Bo Nix, he's played bad. He has had bad games this season, and people are going to look at this and call it a bad game. Don't believe them. This is the kind of game that you want from Bo Nix. 31 of 38, completing a pass to 11 different players, 212 yards, and a good win where your team scores in every single quarter is exactly what you should want from this Broncos team. It hasn't been seen very much this season. You're going up against the Raiders. Not too special, nothing to write home about, but they are an NFL defense. This is not easy wins. No game in the NFL is easy, especially after what we saw the Raiders do to the Broncos last time. We only won in 10-7. This game was not a 24-17 win. It was a 24-7 win where the Broncos didn't end up caring about them scoring a touchdown and a field goal in the final 2.5 minutes of the game. Sorry to all those spread bettors out there.
That is tough.
That's really tough. That's a bad beat. But the efficiency and the consistency from this team cannot be overlooked after a game like that. And let's move on to the next player. And you mentioned him earlier, RJ freaking Harvey.
Let's
Finally,
go.
Again, a player that I have been as harsh on as anybody. I couldn't be more harsh on RJ Harvey. He had a great game yesterday. There is no denying what he did yesterday. 17 carries for 75 yards, 4.4 yards average, and 1 touchdown. And that is not a game where his numbers are inflated or skewed because of a big run that he's had, which has happened a couple times this season. That is a true 4.4 average yards per carry. He was a workhorse. That's what you want to see from RJ Harvey. You're without J.K. Dobbins for the rest of the season, likely, unless we get to the Super Bowl, which again is possible. J.K. Dobbins might return for that, but with the way RJ Harvey played, you might want to see him get the brunt of the load of the snaps if JK does come back for that Super Bowl. That was an incredible game from him yesterday.
Yeah, look, I think it was a breakout performance to a certain extent for RJ Harvey. Obviously, he had the 2 touchdowns last week against Washington, but both of those kind of coming in the red zone scenario. Now, his touchdown yesterday against the Raiders also in a similar scenario. But I think what stands out to me, Joey, is because of the ability to establish the run and also the passing game with RJ Harvey, it allowed the Broncos to dominate this game offensively, right? You didn't have to lean on Bo Nix to throw back, drop back to pass 45 times and throw for 300 plus passing yards. RJ Harvey was able to shoulder the load as a receiver and, of course, as a runner. And, you talked about how you are harsh on RJ Harvey. I think that's fair to a certain extent, but I also think this was a concerted effort from Sean Payton to get this guy the ball, right? Sean, throughout the course of the week, was talking about how you guys haven't seen anything yet. Well, I think we're starting to see what RJ Harvey might continue to become, not just the rest of this season, but moving forward in his NFL career with the Denver Broncos. Dynamic was RJ Harvey yesterday.
Dynamic, yep. And I read off his rushing stats. He also added 6 receptions for 25 yards.
100 yards all purpose yesterday.
100 yards. Wow. Great job, RJ. Needed that, especially going forward. You're looking at, these running backs that you have on this team right now, and RJ Harvey has made it clear that as the 2nd round pick, he's the lead rusher, 17 carries. That's a season high for him. Great overall. The Broncos are 11-2. They've won 10 games, and now they are the first in the AFC. They control their own destiny. And the Patriots are going up against the Bills next week. And that's not a game that I'm writing home about the Patriots about. There's a real chance now that the Broncos can run away with this AFC number 1 seed.
Yeah, I mean, 2 games at home, 2 on the road. The home games, of course, being Green Bay and Jacksonville. I mean, there's not an easy game left on the schedule for the Broncos per se. Maybe the Chiefs, with how they look right now. My goodness, what an ugly performance.
They're
from
not
them.
winning the AFC West anymore.
Maybe we'll see how that happens. What that game potentially means for Kansas City come playoff time. But I think to your point, they take advantage of the Patriots being on the bye this week. So they own the tiebreaker, given the fact that the Patriots actually lost to the Raiders in week 1, which feels like a lifetime ago. And so now the ball's in the Broncos' court. Look, you mentioned that the Patriots still have to play the Bills, and they also have a game against the Ravens, but they also have a couple the body of work for the Patriots, their schedule's easier than that of the Denver Broncos. But let's say Denver wins this weekend against Green Bay. Buffalo's going to need the game as well. You want to try to give yourself some cushion here. And I feel so good about the Broncos' chances to go out there and be a legitimate Super Bowl contender if they can get that 1 seed. I mean, just the math of having to play 2 games versus 3, all of those games being at home. We'll see how it shakes out, of course. But the fact that you use the word or the saying, the Broncos control their own destiny, that is a great thing, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And what does make me a little bit nervous is the fact that the Patriots likely need that bye more than the Broncos. The Broncos have proven that they can go out and beat the better teams in this league. They've done it. I mean, they beat the Chiefs. They beat the Eagles, who again are one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. They can beat anybody in this league. I think that that's been proven throughout this season. The Patriots, on the other hand, have not proven that they can beat anybody in this league. They can't beat the best teams in this league because we haven't seen it. We just haven't seen it. So if there was a head-to-head battle between the Broncos and the Patriots to win the AFC number 1 seed, I bet that the Patriots would be playing a lot harder than the Broncos would, because the Broncos feel like they can beat anybody right now, especially coming off of a win. And I know it's just the Raiders, but a win like yesterday, that boosts the confidence in this locker room tenfold. Tenfold it does.
Yeah, no doubt. And here's the one thing I'll say about the Raiders. They legitimately haven't played anybody good except Buffalo for the most part. I mean, their wins have come against Miami, the Panthers early, and I understand the Panthers are solid right now, but again, early in the year, they beat Buffalo. That's their best win of the year. Then wins against New Orleans, Tennessee, Cleveland, Washington, Tampa, who's fallen off a cliff, the Jets, the Joe Burrow-less Bengals, and the New York Football Giants. I mean, so the win against the Buffalo Bills early in the year, that is the one signature win for the New England Patriots this year. I am so curious. I think the Bills are a much better team right now than they were when they faced them earlier in the year. That's a big game. Again, New England's scheduled to finish the year. Home versus Buffalo, at Baltimore, at the Jets, home versus the Dolphins. Those 2 final games will be pretty, you should expect them to win that game despite the fact that Miami's been pretty scrappy. So it's imperative the Broncos try to go out there and take care of business on Sunday and try to force the hand of the Buffalo Bills to try to take advantage of that situation, assuming they could beat New England.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bills, you saw them yesterday. You saw them
that was
yesterday.
Crazy.
I mean, what a comeback win.
That was crazy.
Talk about a collapse
It was absurd.
from the Bengals, and one of the best games all year to watch too. Snow game in Buffalo.
Oh, I love the snow game.
Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen, some of the best quarterbacks in this league. If you're not watching that game, then you don't love football. But those are the kind of games that prove which teams can go out there and win in those tough situations. And the Bills have yet to prove that they can't win in those tough situations. Going up against the Patriots, I would feel very confident that the Bills end up helping out the Broncos. Unlike last season when they ended up kicking the Broncos out of the playoffs, I think that we should all be Bills fans this weekend up against the Patriots.
Yes,
Huge
sir.
game. But with the Broncos, the way that they're playing, again, just what the title of the show is, they looked completely different yesterday. They looked like a completely different team than when we last saw them play against the Raiders. What were the differences there? I mean, what were the major differences that stuck out? I know the run game was huge. Bo Nix was more efficient, but that's something that we should be coming to expect from this team. Why was this such an easy win for the Broncos, while last time they played the Raiders, it was a 10-7 sweat where you were waiting the whole time for something to fall through?
Well, I think the Broncos know what their identity is a little bit more at this point in the season. I also think Thursday Night Football with that first matchup absolutely factored into how Denver played in that game. And I'm not trying to put a grain of salt on this win, right? I think I'm excited about it. And I think, like I've said a couple of times throughout the course of the show, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Like, I would have been much more surprised if it was another 10-7 game.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to see more of a blowout. And I know that's not a very popular take from Broncos country because a win is a win. But yes, they controlled all 3 facets. I mean, Marvin Mims with the punt return, the defense was good for the most part, and the offense was humming all day. So I think, like I said, the Broncos checked every single box that they were supposed to throughout the course of this game. I don't think this win necessarily did anything for me with respect to, like, Like, I've thought they've been a Super Bowl contender for the last month and a half. Like, I've been there with this Broncos team. I don't think this one necessarily did anything, for me in that capacity because of the opponent. And I don't mean that as a slight to the Raiders, but like, let's see them play like that now at home against Green Bay.
Yeah.
Let's see them do it against Jacksonville, right? I need to see them do it against some upper echelon teams. I mean, with the Titans win yesterday, that's their second win of the year. The Raiders might have the first pick in the draft coming up next year.
Yeah.
So again, good job. 2 thumbs up. Victory Monday. We love to see it. But the real tests start this week against Green Bay.
I like that. And you know what stat sticks out to me the most? We talked about the possession. We talked about Bo Nix, 31 of 38. RJ Harvey, 4.4 yards per carry. This is the first game where the Broncos have not trailed all season.
Yeah, that's great.
The first game where the Broncos have not trailed. And again, it's the Raiders. I mean, we're going to say that a lot, but it's the Raiders. But, they trailed against the Raiders last time they played them. They did. And they've trailed in every single game against poor teams like the Jets, like the Joe Burrow-less Bengals. This is a game where they finally have not trailed. They controlled all 4 quarters of the game, 7 points in the first quarter, 7 points in the second, 7 in the third, field goal in the fourth. Every single quarter, they had a score on the board. That's something that gives you, it should give you an extra layer of confidence in this team. And again, we want to see what they look like going up against the Packers. Micah Parsons is a legend, and, he's going to give Bo Nix some trouble. But they have proven to be winners, and now they've proven that they can win throughout all 4 quarters of the game. It's a completely different kind of win and a completely different kind of feeling. And again, we're talking about a 1-score win. It's another 1-score win for the Broncos, but this one feels completely different from every other 1-score win that they've had this season. This feels like a dominant win where they were in control for all 4 quarters of the game and all different angles and levels, defensively, offensively, special teams. Marvin Mims, another all-pro season coming for him, his first reception return touchdown in his career. And that surprised me, actually, because this is one of the best returners in the league, and it's his first touchdown. I mean, you'd think that he would have more, but just a completely dominant win all the way around. I find it hard to see a loss in the next 4 weeks of the game schedule. Do you?
That's a take.
I find it hard. I mean,
that's a take.
I can't see it being too much of one.
Green Bay's a pretty good team.
Green Bay's a good team, but are they good enough to beat the 11-2 Broncos? I don't think so. I mean, they were having trouble up against the Bears yesterday.
Bears are also a good team, though.
Are they?
You're a Vikings fan, so let's throw that out. I think the Bears are a good team.
I am a Vikings homer, and I will never, ever in my life say that the Bears are a good team.
Yeah,
even
fair.
If they could have an undefeated season, I would still think that they're losing in the second round of the playoffs.
I will say this. I think this game against Green Bay will tell us all we need to know about this Broncos team. Because I believe in Denver's ability to be the Jaguars, warm weather team. I'm just also not sold on Trevor Lawrence. I think Liam Cohen's been a pretty good coach, and Travis Etienne and company. I like the Broncos' chances they could win this game against Green Bay. I'm not saying they won't, but I like the Broncos. I'm more confident in their ability to beat Jacksonville than I am that of Green Bay. I think this game coming up this weekend will tell us a lot about the state of the Broncos heading into the playoffs.
I like that. I like that a lot. That'll be a good poll question for the show tonight. We'll react to that on Friday. Something about that going into this Packers week. I want to see
throw
you guys
something else out there.
Yes, please.
Packers are road favorites.
Really? Against the Broncos?
Yep. Road favorites, 2.5.
That's out now.
So that tells you what Vegas thinks.
Wow. Right? 2.5 point favorites. That is something I would have not expected. Yeah. That feels disrespectful. That stung a little bit.
There you go.
The Broncos are 11-2, have won 10 games in a row, yet they are underdogs to the team that tied with the Cowboys. They're underdogs to a team that tied with the Cowboys. Let that sink in. Let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
I can understand Pick'em, but 2.5.
I can see Pick'em, but you're saying that they're gonna win by a field goal. That's what they're saying. They're going to win by a field goal.
And they might, but this Broncos team hasn't lost at home in like over a year and a half now. That's what I'm saying, man. This is the game. Get your popcorn ready. This game against Green Bay, my man, this is for all the marbles. We're going to learn so much about this Denver Broncos team and Green Bay respectively. Will the streak continue? Will Green Bay march in here and be a quality opponent and hand the Broncos their first loss in like 2 months? We'll find out. Buckle up, man. I am pumped up for this one.
Wow. And I'm just looking now. The Broncos have lost 2 games this season, and they've won 11. There has not been a time this season where they have not covered a plus 2.5 spread. I mean, they've lost 1 game by 3, and it was the last second field goal by the Chargers when they were tied. So put that in your back pocket. Let me know how you guys are feeling about that Packers game. What a great day. I'm feeling good. I know it's another one-score win, but again, it doesn't feel like one. You let 2 garbage time touchdowns go for Geno Smith. Who really cares about that? You beat the Raiders. You beat them twice. You swept them. The Raiders are nice. I beat them twice. Don't care. The Raiders, Schmaders, Broncos in 2. But thank you guys all for joining. AP, thank you so much for joining. It was a great day talking. I can't wait to be back with you guys again tomorrow, talking about more leading into this Packers week. Should be a really fun game to watch. Again, AP said it here. This will be the game to tell you what you should be thinking about for the Broncos rest of the season. Are they contenders? Are they pretenders? We know what I think. I want to know what you think. Of course, they should be looked at as contenders in this league, but clearly Vegas has some different thoughts there. Wild from them. But thank you guys so much for joining. We will see you all tomorrow. Until then, y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye, y'all.